We are recording.
All right, welcome everyone to our WS Tools webinar this month. We are going to talk about our new tool called Location Modifier. And I am so excited to get this one rolled out. This is a tool that customers have been asking for, it seems like a year, but maybe it hasn't really been that long. Time is just flying. So again, it's geared to those of you that have Signature, Key2Act product, and Service in particular is where the location modifier fits from our tool set. So let's jump to the agenda slide, Sandy, so we can walk through what we're going to talk about.
Here we go.
And I know all of you came to hear about the location modifier, which we will talk about that, but I also want to take a step back and talk about the customer modifier plus tool. Like, this is a tool that's been out now for a year plus, and I want to talk about the difference between the two tools, because if you are an existing customer with customer modifier, you might be going, okay, when do I use this tool, and then when would I use this new location modifier? So I want to make sure that everyone understands that and knows, when it comes to, okay, I need to make a change to my customer, which tool or which way do I go? So we'll walk through that, as well as Sandy's going to give us a demo of the location modifier, just of how the window works, and then putting in the entries and kind of seeing how everything comes out after the options. So let's start with customer modifier. So if you look in GP, under sales, under utilities, you will have customer, combiner, and modifier. So second to the bottom there on the menu, on the picture. And that comes with standard GP. So you might be going, okay, so that's standard GP, but what is customer modifier plus? So customer, combiner, and modifier standard GP will do just that. It will combine customers together, where you can combine either at the customer ID level, one customer to another, or if you just need to modify a customer ID, but it's at that top level for customers that you're going to be doing that for. And you can do that from a GP perspective, just with the core product. The issue is if you run it for the core product and you have signature loaded, it won't update any of the signature tables. So then you'll be out of sync between your GP tables, your GP customer tables, and your Key2Act customer tables. And that'd be bad. So we don't want anybody to do that, right? So we came out with Customer Modifier Plus a while back that incorporates, when you run the GP customer modifier and customer combiner, it also updates your Key2Act tables. And that's for service, job cost, and equipment. And we're going to take a look at a couple scenarios. So if you go to the next slide, Sandy. So when would you use this tool? Let's kind of focus in on that. And this one, from a customer modifier perspective, this is when you want to change, let's say, your customer IDs. This is the feedback I get from you guys of, I set up my customer IDs numerically, 101, 102, kind of like the sample data, right? And then you're like, okay, nobody knows what 107 is, right? And so you're like, I want to change them to be more descriptive and use, the first 3-4 characters of the name, or, whatever naming convention you want to move to. This tool, the Customer Modifier Plus, will help you update your GP for that, as well as your signature tables, as you change the customer ID at that top level. The other thing you can do with this tool is do some combining or moving. So here in this example is, let's say customer A is acquired by customer B. So customer A is getting absorbed, right, into customer B. Well, if you do a combiner here for customer with our tool, Customer Modifier Plus, what it will do is take those outstanding balances that were on customer A, and they'll become part of customer B's balance then. Really, everything transfers from customer A to customer B, including all of the service locations, then would move to customer B as well. And again, so you're doing those changes up at the very top level at the customer, which is great if that's what you need to do. But what we have found is some of you are like, I don't need to change at the customer level. I need to change lower at my service location levels. And that's where the new tool comes into play, Location Modifier. Thanks, Sandy.
Yeah.
And this one is really built for those of you using service inside of Signature, right? So you set up all of your different service locations, and then if you have the opportunity where you need to either modify those IDs or combine or move, if you want to say locations from one customer to another, this is the tool for you. And it's updating your service tables as well as, you know, time track tables, your shared tables, WS tables, those things that all fall underneath that. Now this one from a menu system would be located in the same place as your customer modifier combiner. If you look at the menu system there, it's at the bottom, location, combiner, and modifier. Yep, thanks Sandy for putting that out.
Yeah.
And the window looks similar as well as the customer modifier. It's just a little wider because it's got a little more detail that we got to get into because we're going down a level into the location. It's not just up at the customer. All right, so let's talk through some examples for that one as well. All right, the first one we have listed is let's talk about modifying address. So let's say you entered them in as main office, and then you realize, okay, that prints on all the invoices and all the documents that I'm sending out. And so you're like, I want to add a space. And what you can easily do is choose to modify that customer location and put in, you know, what it is today. The source would be your main office with no separation. And then your destination would be main space office. And basically it would be updating all your tables to have main office as the address ID with a space in it. And again, very simple way to do it, but again, very powerful if you wanted to get, you know, a misspelling or somebody set something up wrong, just truly doing a correction from that perspective. One thing I forgot to mention, Sandy, when we got started, so I'm going to take just a quick break, is if you have questions or comments, we do have those available on their panel if they wanted to enter those in, and we'll be checking those as we go. So that's what I just looked over, and I don't see a question yet, but just wanted to make sure people knew that we do have people on that are watching those panels as well. So
Yeah, good
forgot
reminder.
that, Andy. All right, so back to our examples. Okay, so we talked about just, you know, like modifying an address ID. So the next one up is really talking about, you know, Cheryl, that's me. So I have a house here in Fargo, 4481 Woodhaven is my address ID. And let's say that I sell my house and Susie buys it, right? So Susie's gonna take over possession of my house. So what you could do in your system here is actually transfer that location, 4481 Woodhaven, as my source, transfer it to Susie as another location for her, because maybe she has multiple houses or property management firm, right? And what it does, which is very cool, is it takes everything with it, the service calls, the equipment that's assigned to that location, open contracts. It would take all of that information from Cheryl to Susie's location. And then maybe Cheryl has a new house, let's hope, so that she would get a new location, you know, underneath her as well. Maybe she purchased from, you know, Jeff, and so Jeff's house would then become Cheryl's location. So again, it makes it real easy of that data that you've accumulated to put it under a different customer location, or to even combine them if you needed to, if multiple properties became one location to you. So one note I wanted to talk about though is if you are combining and there's a contract under, let's say in this case, we're going to an existing location for Susie. If the contract that Susie has for her location and Cheryl's location are the same name, this is where you're going to get a message that tells you you can't merge them, because we don't merge contracts together because they're very unique and they all have their own revenue recognition and things like that. And so it will give you a message, and our recommendation is that you rename one of your contracts and then you could do the merging, right? You could use the utility inside of Key2Act for moving the contracts and renaming them, and then come back and do this process. So heads up on that, because some people have very specific names for their contracts, and some people name them specific to the location. So again, it just depends on a preference on your naming of your contracts. So a couple of things that you might be wondering about is, okay, how is this location modifier different than the, let's say, move utility inside of Key2Act, right? The location move utility. So a couple things. So with ours, you don't need to have all your service calls closed. You don't need to close out all of your contracts. We actually will run this process if you have open service calls and open contracts. So for example, if you have an open service call, it will move it to the new location, and then moving forward, right, you'd be posting using that location's division, etc. Same for contract. The contract information would stay intact. It would just move from one location to another if that's what you're doing. So you wouldn't have to close it before you move it. So if you have questions or anything on that, we can dive deeper into that too, one-on-one if you want it as well. All right, I think we're ready to take a look at the window. Sandy, do you want to pull up the window and walk through that?
You bet. So as Cheryl mentioned, it's here under Sales Utilities, way at the bottom. And it does look a lot like the Customer Combiner and Modifier window. So just like there, if you want, we can import a file. And I won't spend a lot of time on that, but I was going to show one quick. So here's what it looks like. We've got a column for the existing or source customer IDs, the existing or source location IDs, then the new or destination customer IDs and location IDs, and then also the new or destination location names. So you just put all of those in there. Obviously, if we're just doing two, we probably wouldn't do a spreadsheet for it, but I just wanted to show you how it works. And then you just save it as a CSV file. So then when we come in here, and mine was for doing a modifier, so I'm going to switch this here from combiner to modifier and select that one we just looked at. And then you click the validate, and if there are any errors, whoops, I hit the button again instead of the validate. So if there were any errors, we'd get a report, but this one worked for us. So again, I've got the two here to do. The first one is we're going to move Jack and Jill Hilburn from one location to another. So it's going to rename their residence location to new residence, and then we could keep the location name the same or change it. I gave them a different street address here. Maybe Jack and Jill moved up the hill.
Oh yeah, remember I said no jokes. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, sorry. I forgot.
No
Okay.
comedy half hour. Yeah.
And then our other one here is taking a location and moving it from one customer to another. So let's say that in this case, Woodland Golf Course sold their cart house location to Lake Park Golf Supply, and it's moving over there. So then once we're ready, we just click the process button, and it tells us, and this is something you want to be sure you do, and I actually did do this before the webinar, is make a backup of your company database, because you know, just in case something goes wrong and it doesn't look like you expected, you didn't do quite what you wanted, you can move it back. So I'm going to say continue because I did do that.
So,
and then,
Sandy,
go ahead.
I'm just going to jump in because the other thing we'll always recommend is that you do it in test first and review the results.
Good idea. Yeah.
Make sure you're getting exactly what you're expecting from a results perspective.
Yeah, good plan. Okay, so here, if there were any errors, we would see them below the results here, but there were no errors, so those ones succeeded. Oh, and I actually forgot, I was going to have us look at them first before I'd switched them. and I didn't do that. We'll do that before we do a combine. So let's look first at, let's see,
Jack and Jill.
Yeah, Jack and Jill. So they did have residents, now it's new residents. And, you know, that was a modify. So all of these that had residents here also on the ship to, build to, statement to, that's been updated as well. And then if we go to the addresses for them, we see just that one now, the new residents. And then I'm going to come back here. And then if we looked at our other one, we were moving here for Woodland Golf Course. Nothing changed here because we didn't do anything with the main office. But then again, if we go back to the addresses and click our lookup here, we've got main office and warehouse, but cart house isn't there now. But if we go to Lake Park Golf Supply here, we've got the cart house here now. And again, I forgot I was going to show this before we went, or before I did the modify, but here if we look at our
You're just so excited to do it, Sandy. I get
know,
it.
I was so excited. So everything here is updated because this is the one where we just changed the location from residence to new res. And so all of those service calls, whether they're open or closed, they're all still here. I can't remember if this one, yeah, this one had a contract too. And so, you know, that contract is still there. It just has the new location name of new res. And then if we look here at Lake Park Golf Supply and we go to Cart House, these are the ones that were there when it was with Woodland Golf Course. And we've got an open and a closed service call, and those came over as well. And we've got a contract too. So that contract has been updated to be over here with Lake Park Golf Supply now. So that's kind of a quick look at the location modify. Any questions about that before we move on to the location combine? And this time I will remember we're going to look at it first here.
No
Any
questions.
No questions? Okay.
Nothing
So,
in the chat or questions. So keep going, Sandy.
okay. In this instance, I'm going to combine this customer 301 warehouse with customer 303 warehouse. So they both already exist as warehouse, and it's just going to get combined, this one into the other one. So we'll see all these service calls open and closed under the 303 warehouse when we're done, along with what's there. And then we've got a contract here as well, 38. So we'll see that move too, because the contract on customer 303 is different. Let me wipe that out of there. And then, so again, customer 303 is where we're going to go to. So this one has just these two service calls, and it has, it does not have a contract. And then, so I guess, you know, we'll just go ahead and do one other thing I was going to point out though here, I think Cheryl mentioned we don't update the division. So these ones are service industrial division on this, what is going to be our destination location. And here, if we go back to 301 warehouse, those are all PM division, PM industrial division. So these are going to keep their division, but they're going to move over to 303 warehouse. Okay. So I'll go back here to my location combiner and modifier, and now I'm set to combine. And I'm not going to load these ones from a spreadsheet. I'll just enter it. We can look it up or type it in, either one. So we're going to go from 301 warehouse to 303 warehouse. And again, when I hit process, it's going to tell me I should make a backup. And I'm going to hit continue. And then we'll see if we have any errors. So again, there were no errors on it. And so now if we can look here first on the sales customer cards. So 301 was our source. And again, I didn't do the main location, so that's still there. But if we come in here now, our warehouse location is gone. And then on 303, it doesn't look any different here because we still have the warehouse location that was already there. We've just combined the other one into it. So, oops, I wanted to go back to the service manager window. I think I have that open here. So our warehouse location is gone here on the service manager. And then for the source customer 301, and then on 303, I've got all of those service calls here now. So initially on 303, we had just these two right here. And in this case, it's easy to tell because, I guess I had this one also that I had done. Yeah, so 3 of them here on that were service industrial division. Those were there initially, and then these other ones all came in from that location combine. So we can, well, these are all closed, but anyway, you can see they're all updated with the new
location, right?
Yeah, the new location, and then for a contract, we have just the one that came from the old 301 warehouse, and now it's here on the 303. So, and everything that's there with it as far as invoice history, that's all still there. Yeah, so that's, it looks simple, but there's just so much going on underneath the covers with everything getting updated. So super handy and powerful.
Yeah, hundreds of tables, right, Sandy?
Yep, hundreds of tables. Yeah. lots of testing.
Well, good.
So let's see, any questions now about either the location modifying or location combination?
I don't see any, so let's flip back to the slides.
Okay.
And let's tell them about the promo that's going on right now, because I want to make sure people are aware of it, because it goes off here at the end of June. So they got just today, tomorrow to get things wrapped up.
Whoa,
but,
move fast.
Yeah, so and this is, the more tools you buy, the greater percentage off you get of your tools. So you can see here on the slide that 3 tools gets you 10% off, 5 tools 20%, and if you go to 10 tools, you get 40% off that price. So quite a good deal. Yeah, and to reach us right there, you'll see the iscorp.biz is where you can check out the all of our tools, and it's got a 2-minute quick little recording that Sandy's got out there on some of them of how they work, as well as a description. Or if you want to talk through and see a demo of some more of those, give us a call as well. So, because there's definitely lots of fun tools, and Sandy and I have been doing webinars and releasing new ones here, and we also got some more on deck for July. So would love for people to check that out.
Right.
I am just looking, and we have a comment. A couple comments coming in here, Sandy. Got a looks good and a great tool coming in from our audience. So thank you guys for commenting. Yeah. But yeah, if there's, questions or specific scenarios that any of you want to walk through and just kind of go, okay, so if I wanted to do this and this, would this work, kind of thing. Because that's the biggest thing, is just wanting to make sure people understand, when to use the tool. And so we would love to meet with you and kind of talk through that if you have questions on that. And I know that we're in our last final couple minutes here, so I just want to say thank you everyone for joining us. Greatly appreciate it today. Here you can see all our services that we do here at Implementation Specialists. And of course, you reach out to us via phone, via email, via our website, and we'll get right back to you to answer any of the questions that you run into. So thank you again for joining Sandy and I. Greatly appreciate it. And have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.